Now to our special focus this Friday evening, Vasudha. This is about the star craze in South India. It's there across India, but it's especially pronounced in South India. Whether it is the stampede in Karur that led to the death of 41 people, which is because of the craze to see Vijay, the star, who's now turned into a politician, or it is about an Allu Arjun going and watching his movie and the people wanting to get a first glimpse. It's an unexplainable phenomenon, Vasudha, which has had tragic consequences. And today, even Pawan Kalyan, the Deputy Chief Minister and a big star in Andhra, has pointed out the trouble of fans ending up in wars with each other.
That's right. Veera, Pawan Kalyan has appealed to fans across all film industries to stop fan wars and instead celebrate good cinema with respect. He has made this very important point. He has emphasized that no film lasts long these days. The lifespan is just down to 6 days. So cursing, abusing other actors only spreads negativity and damage and the culture of art itself. So that's an important point that he has made. Let's take a look at some reactions.
అందరి హీరోల అభిమానులు కూడా నేనేం కోరుకున్నానంటే లెట్ మీ టెల్ యూ నేను మనస్ఫూర్తి చెప్తున్నాను ఆల్వేస్ లవ్ హూమ్ యూ అడోర్. మీరు ఏ హీరో కానీ జూనియర్ ఎన్టీఆర్ గారి దగ్గర నుంచి కానీ అల్లు అర్జున్ దగ్గర నుంచి కానీ ప్రభాస్ గారి దగ్గర నుంచి కానీ చిరంజీవి గారు కానీ ఎవరైనా సార్ రామ్ చరణ్ గారు కానీ నాని గారు కావచ్చు, ఎనీ హీరో, ఎనీ లాంగ్వేజ్ హీరో, మనస్ఫూర్తిగా ఐ ఎంజాయ్ దేర్ వర్క్, ఐ అప్రిషియేట్ దేర్ వర్క్. ఎందుకంటే నాకు నా ఆర్ట్ ఫామ్, నేను ఆర్ట్ని ప్రేమించేవాడిని. మనసు ఇంకొక హీరోని ద్వేషిస్తున్నాడంటే ఇక్కడ మనసు సరిగ్గా లేదని అర్థం. అందుకని నాకు అలాంటి ఇప్పుడు థాట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అందుకని అందరి హీరోల అభిమానులకి మై అడ్వైస్ ఇస్, ఇంక్లూడింగ్ నా అభిమానులతో సహా, స్టాప్ డూయింగ్ దిస్ ఫ్యాన్ వార్స్. స్టాప్ డూయింగ్ దిస్ ఫ్యాన్ వార్స్.
Well, those comments from the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, but more as a star who's had 2 recent releases, Vasudha, from Pawan Kalyan, saying, look, if you're my fan, you don't have to pull down another star's movie. And if you're another star's fan, you don't have to pull down my movie. It's a reflection of the intense emotion that plays out about whose fan you are and the kind of rivalry that plays out. Joining us this evening is Lata Srinivasan, film critic who has observed fan culture and stars for many, many years in South India. Also with us, Chetan Ahimsa, an actor himself. My first question to you, Lata, we've seen tragic consequences. In fact, I wanted to ask you this about the stampede in Karur that unfolded, which is only a reflection of the craze, the fan craze, and that fan craze will not die out even now. In the OTT era, are we expecting more sensible, more mature fans in this country, or does the craze for a star blind all sensibility?
Good evening, Veera. I think, that's a very valid question. Today, unfortunately, thanks to social media, what has happened is, youngsters, children, right from the age of 1 and 2 have access to movies, to everything on their phones, right? And they start becoming fans of actors and even all these reality shows that you have where you can sing and dance to your favorite actors' songs and so on. They have made them, fans right from that age. And there's no line that is being drawn even by the parents, because the parents themselves have been fans of Rajinikanth and MGR. But today what's happened is there is no discipline, there's no reality. They're not able to see that being a fan is not your whole life. I think that reality, that line has completely blurred, and that's what we saw even during the stampede. People are just crazy to see their star, live in person. Right. They don't care about anything else beyond that, and they lose all sense of, common sense, to say the least,
Right. Chetan Ahimsa, I want to ask you, because you're also an actor yourself, I understand that it makes complete commercial sense for actors, artists to have these fan clubs, but what does it really do for the fans themselves? Does it give them a sense of belonging? Does it give them a sense of purpose? Because I'm reminded of this Darshan case also, which, involved a murder. What does it really do for common people? What does it give them to be part of these things?
That's a very good question. The word fan actually is short for fanatic. Now, if you're a fanatic, that means something where you kind of disengage with any rationality, rhyme, or reason, and you blindly follow someone, maybe for the roles they play, maybe for sometimes their off-screen persona. But I heard Mr. Pawan Kalyan speak, and I've heard him speak for many years, and he's said that fan wars are killing cinema. In actuality, it is this concept of fanhood that is killing people. So if you look at, and people in positions of power must undermine star culture, especially those benefiting from it, whether it be Pawan Kalyan, Vijay, or even to a small degree, myself. And if you're in a position of leadership, you must target this kind of unforeseen craze, because what happens is it's not even good for the film industry. It's a very hero-centric outlook. He mentioned a whole bunch of heroes. There's hundreds of people that work on a film. There's the director, there's the writers, there's the producers investing. These are the main people for the success of a creative film. The cinema star is just a box office collection that has very little creative impact. So the fact that he is looking at it from this hero-centric approach means he is just another film actor. He doesn't have a vision to build a better society or nation build.
No, you're
that is problematic for Andhra Pradesh and what I see in Tamil Nadu and Karur, and for Tamil Nadu too.
No, you're making a very important point. It's true whether it is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, perhaps a little more refined in Kerala and perhaps a little more refined, some may argue, in the north of India. But I'm not so worried about the star, Chetan and Lata, first to you. I'm more worried about a parent who can take a 1.5-year-old or a 2-year-old child to a place which is extremely crowded to just satiate that craze. And this is not just about stars. I've had live witnesses of instances like in the RCB tragedy in Bangalore. There were parents who had young children who wanted to go still to see Virat Kohli, despite the fact that they knew that there was a stampede that was on there. What is it that defines that craze, and how do we ensure that there is some kind of categorical, strict, stern information that goes out, which educates and desensitizes people from getting into situations of this nature? Because the worst is children who die because they've not gone there on their own choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Veera, that is true. Because why should parents who are fans take, children as old as 1 or 2 to a place where there's likely to be some kind of calamity? There could be. One doesn't know what happens because fans get very excited. They're highly charged up. But this behavior, this fan behavior, I think also is stoked by people who surround the star himself, because they want to see this kind of reverie where they idol worship the star, and the star also gains more popularity, and there's no sense to it. You really can't explain this. It's just a psychological phenomenon that occurs even in the case of mobs, as we see, like we call the mob mentality, right? So I think it's very difficult to decipher it, but what stars themselves need to do is keep putting out, reiterating, keep putting out messages that, like what Arjun did. He dismantled his fan clubs when he found that, it was
You're right.
out of hand,
You're right. It's the responsibility of the star as well, Vasudha.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But Lata, before I go to Chetan, has digital or social media also amplified this war business? Because I also think it's going to be difficult for fan clubs to exist without these fan wars, because it's a mass medium. How are you expecting fans to engage with cinema? Because they are not really going to look into the craft of it and admire it for its storytelling. They're just going to look at broader concepts, isn't it?
Yeah, but Vasudha, the problem with social media is that it provides you with so much of anonymity, right? You don't know who these people are. Yeah. You don't know, who is setting up, like whether these fans are real fans or it's just, 20 people sitting in a house and creating 200 handles. We really don't know what is going on, especially on social media. And when these fan wars erupt, right, there's always this allegation of, and we've seen that, in the case of Ajit versus Vijay, which is a huge thing that happens.
Very important point. Chetan, do you want to just get in your final thoughts on it?
Because my final thought is...
I'm sorry to cut you short, Lata.
Yeah, my final thought is you made a point that this is not about the stars. Yes, I'm not talking about cinema actors and stars, but these two people specifically, whether it be Vijay or Pawan Kalyan, they are actively involved in the political process and they are claiming to be political leaders. That is people's lives.
Right.
If you're a cinema actor, you're dealing with business, you might flop, it might succeed, some 100 crores, 50 crores, 1 crore. That's a different question. But when you're talking about people's lives, When you're talking about policy decisions for your state, you have to have somebody you can trust. You have to have somebody who understands society. These guys are limited understanding. They're just propped up because of the box office collections. We need a society we need leaders that understand the true problems and can find solutions. I don't see it in these two. Unless we get a more aware society, the leaders build that awareness and undermine
let's not be so
culture,
categorical on our
problematic.
remark. We'll have to be objective about it, but you can be. Thanks very much there, Chetan. But you're making an extremely important point, Lata, Vasudha, and Chetan. Thanks very much, Chetan and Lata, for joining us.